On the search for bugs, Ferdinand was, as he stumbled upon the hole. Then tensions rose, and so the story goes, the hole began to fill. The bodies laid, and time decayed, as the oak tree loomed above. Now voices cry out, and phantom hands leave no doubt that these dead still long to be freed.
Hi, I'm Desiree.
And I'm Mariah.
We're two sisters with a love of storytelling
and the paranormal. And you're listening to
As the Crow Flies.
Welcome back to another adventure.
Hello.
We coming back out of Texas. Before we jump into that, though, I wanted to share a quick reminder about the upcoming Witchy Women's Social that we were invited to, which is going to be, when this airs, it will be 1 week from that day, or 6 days. I forget, we drop on Sundays, but it'll be just under a week out, and I am so excited. I know Des is so excited. We've been chatting in a group with some of the other witchy women and planning and prepping, and it's all just very, very exciting. I feel electrified, energized, waiting for it.
Yes, I am super excited. There's going to be door prize raffle, lots of amazing people there, great opportunities, cool stuff to check out. There's going to be good food, mocktails, and our service at this event is free because we're asking for your stories, but we are going to be collecting donations, and that's going to go towards new equipment for Mariah and I to hopefully improve our sound quality.
And just a few of the things I've seen, there was aura photography that looked really cool. I know that there are several tarot readers, massage therapists, Reiki, yes, astrology readings. If it's anything like the last event, there's also just so many amazing artists and vendors with such a wide array of different crafts and styles, and so just that alone was really cool. So next weekend, May 9th, 6 to 9 in the Tasting Center on Main Street in Newport.
Tickets are available for purchase beforehand. You can purchase tickets at the door, but there are only going to be so many tickets sold. I know that this is going to be more of an intimate event and not just open like the psychic and holistic fair. So if this is an event that you really want to make sure that you're able to experience, definitely visit Amy at the Witch's Brew and buy those beforehand, because no guarantees you'll be able to purchase a ticket the day of.
And it's a good excuse also to just go get a coffee from Soul Cafe or stop in and get some food from the Flaky Crust. Check out all the cool stuff on Main Street, but in the Tasting Center especially, there's just so many cool people and so many options on a normal day. So check it out, and hopefully we see you there and get to hear some really cool stories, meet some really cool people.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to it. And so today, what I have for you guys, like Mariah said, we are staying in Texas for this episode. And it's kind of a little difficult doing what we do, Mariah, because the things that people are familiar with, you're familiar with it. And you've probably heard the story told either on another platform. And we've covered things that have been told on other platforms because we just find them interesting. But we also don't want to be super repetitive.
Yeah,
And
oversaturate with the same stories. Yeah, they're interesting, but there's so much more out there.
Yeah, and that's also sort of the beauty of what we do is we get to do research and learn about these things that we might not have known about before. And so for this episode, I quite literally searched lesser known Texas legends
Mhm.
because I wanted to learn about something new and I wanted to share something new with you guys. And so today's episode is about Dead Man's Hole in Austin, Texas.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Exciting.
And
Terrifying.
the name alone, I was like, oh, this sounds cool. And then I'm doing research about it. I'm like, oh. And so I really hope that you guys enjoy this one and learn some Texas history. And again, we share these Vermont and these Texas stories. It's not all we're going to share, but Texas and Vermont hold a special place in our hearts. And so we wanted to share with you guys. So in 1821, entomologist, that's a person who studies bugs, uh, entomologist Ferdinand Luters stumbled upon a massive sinkhole in Marble Falls, Texas. Conflicting reports suggest this sinkhole was either the result of a gas eruption or the dissolution of limestone. So I found both reports. And one said it definitely wasn't a gas eruption, and one said it definitely wasn't limestone dissolving. So
Of course.
maybe, ¿por qué no los dos, right?
It's definitely not any or either of both of those.
Yeah.
For sure.
Maybe.
But oh my god. For sure, maybe. For sure, not.
For sure not.
For sure, bomb.
So, sitting silently off of desolate County Road 401, this sinkhole likely remained undiscovered and unbothered for many hundreds of years before Ferdinand came across it. 40 years later, as the Civil War broke out, this sinkhole became the dumping ground for what is believed to be up to at least 17 bodies of Union sympathizers
Oh
murdered at
shit.
the hands of bushwhackers and fire eaters, otherwise known as vigilante Confederate supporters.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Those are some rough nicknames also. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, bushwhackers and fire eaters.
Mm-hmm.
This came after outrage from the group following Burnett County's 248 to 149 vote to stay in the Union. So at this time, Texas as a whole was moving toward being staying in the Confederacy, but this one county specifically was still in support of being a part of the Union. And
Right.
so it created a lot of controversy and conflict and turmoil in the community.
I never even
Um,
considered that as like a possibility. Texas is just like so
South.
red south. Yeah.
Yeah. The deep South.
Yeah.
So when the vigilantes found those who were in support of the Union, they were viciously tortured and murdered, sometimes even hung from the large oak tree that sat looming nearby, and their bodies tossed into the quiet hole off of County Road 401. Long since having fallen, it is said that the noose marks can still be seen on the branches of the fallen tree. Among those murdered included pro-union judge John R. Scott. He was kind of to blame for what was happening in this county, in the eyes of those who were in
Oh,
support
okay.
of being Confederates. Yeah.
Okay.
So he was pro-union. There was Adolph Hopp, who was a settler. There were several Reconstruction era county government officials, Unionist James McMasters, and Unionist and landowner Henry Flower. And his name is spelt like F laugh but it's pronounced flower.
Hmm.
Um, and so McMasters and Flower were said to have been some of the ones who were hung at the site. After the conclusion of the Civil War in 1865, the sinkhole's use as a dumping ground to cover up heinous activities did not cease. The
Mm,
last, yeah, it kept out. They're like, why not? We're just going to keep using it. The last recorded killing and disposing of a body in Dead Man's Hole happened in 1871 with the documented murder of Ben McKeever, who is said to have had a conflict with a local freedman, Ben Shelby. And so when we say local freedman, he was a former slave who had been freed.
Okay.
So with local freedman Ben Shelby, and I point this out, take this as a grain of salt, given the community. I feel like you can't take this situation at face value.
Yeah.
It's possible he could have been framed. It's possible he did these things. So Ben Shelby got upset with Ben McKeever because Ben McKeever was riding through a field on his horse and a dog ran up and started barking at his horse and scaring his horse. And so Ben McKeever shot at the dog, didn't hit the dog,
Oh,
but
okay.
but Shelby got mad that he was shooting at his dog. And
Mhm.
so the two got into an argument, and it is said that McKeever turned his gun on Shelby and he shot at Shelby but missed Shelby. Shelby held on to this grudge, so the story says.
Mhm.
And he held on to this grudge, and Shelby then learned later on that McKeever would be traveling through the area again. And so Shelby supposedly gathered a team of 3 other men and they ambushed McKeever when he was going through the town and they murdered him. And it was said that at first they tried disposing of his body in a well, and then they realized that that wasn't going to work, so they recovered his body and went to the hole and threw him in.
Oh, wow.
So McKeever's shoes were actually found next to one of those Union supporters who was initially thrown in. His shoes were found next to a harness that belonged to Adolf. McKeever's body's final resting place, however, didn't end up being Dead Man's Hole. I really just added this part because of this guy's name. So buckle up. Local policeman Nimrod Doc Miller. What
Yes.
what an unfortunate name. Nimrod.
Oh, yeah.
So local policeman Nimrod Doc Miller, he descended into the depths of the pit and retrieved McKeever's body. Miller was deemed a hero as a result of his actions and was later elected as Burnett County Sheriff. Eerily enough, Miller took off in pursuit of an individual in Oklahoma and just disappeared.
That's sketchy.
Yeah. So later in January 1873, all 4 men involved in McKeever's murder, who were Ben and Arthur Shelby, Ball Woods, and William Smith, were convicted of murder. The 4 men were hanged on January 15th, 1873, according to Burnett County's execution records. Another conflicting report exists that says 3 men were actually, none of them were executed. 3 were sentenced to life in prison, and a 4th was acquitted. So I'm not sure. The county's actual records say that they were executed, but then this other report exists somewhere.
And it seems like the way the town government would lean at the time would be towards not covering up executions. It would be more like,
Right.
we're trying to put this on record to show,
This is what happens
fuck
if you do
around,
bad
find
things.
out kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Yes.
And yeah, that like we took care of this.
Mhm.
So that's weird.
Though McKeever is the last documented body to have been disposed of in this hole, it's likely that more have taken place since.
Hmm.
The true number of bodies hidden in the depths of this cavern is unknown. In 1866, a group of family members of the slain Union sympathizers rebelliously lowered themselves into the caves to retrieve thousands of bones and clothing items from their loved ones. Despite this, however, due to the presence of natural gases, retrieving the remains or exploring the sinkhole was not responsibly possible until about 100 years later in the 1960s, because there was a pool of natural gas at the bottom of the hole. So you go down there and you're either going to get really sick or
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, was it like flammable gas or just toxic enough to like knock you out if you don't have anybody up there? Like,
That's what I would guess is just enough to knock you out. Because I would imagine, I mean, in the 1800s, they had to be going down there with, unless they're going in the daytime, but like lanterns or something.
oh, right. For some reason, I was thinking like the whatever they're getting down there with, but I mean,
Oh,
probably more likely rope than anything metal.
the 1800s of it all.
Oh,
The first true investigation of Dead Man's Hole took place in 1951 when two staffers at the University of Texas at Austin went down into the hole. Their findings resulted in the formation of the University Speleological Society at UT just a few months later. That group went on to map the hole in 1968. They reported that the hole was 7 feet in diameter at the surface and that it split into two areas at the base, one of which goes back about 15 feet and the other slopes down at a 45-degree angle for about 30 feet.
yikes.
Yeah. The total depth of the hole is around 160 feet. Yeah.
Whoa.
The other thing is Ferdinand, who discovered this, he was in Texas doing research on night insects, like nighttime insects. So
Uh
I'm like, how'd this poor guy stumble across this hole? And if he fell into this
huh.
hole, like he would get messed up.
I feel like you would die if you fall into that.
Yeah, that I mean 160 feet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's oh yeah, for sure you'd be
Maybe it was just like a kick the edge of it. Oh, shoot.
right. Or maybe he was scoping out a place in the daytime, but that's
Yeah.
something that just kept going on in the back of my mind. I'm like, this guy studied nighttime insects. How did he find this cave?
That also makes it that much more like impressive to think of the people that went down before there was like official safe ways to do it in the 19 what did you say 50s or
60s.
60s
Yeah.
to go retrieve bodies and bones. Doc, I feel like his
Nimrod.
actions were less Nimrod and more Doc of it all. But
Yeah.
for him to like go and retrieve that body, the other families, like that is wild to think of having done.
With like it seems like that would be a big feat now with all of the
Hmm.
new tools and materials that we have. I couldn't imagine like just doing it with manpower and ropes because
Yeah. All
that's
right.
all they really
Bubba,
had.
John, stand up here at the end of the rope and don't
Yeah,
let go.
yeah, definitely. No thanks. A group of amateur spelunkers, love that word, attempted to explore the cave in 1970, but were chased out by a slew of bats.
Oh.
So if you know Austin,
Hmm.
that checks.
Oh yeah, I loved.
Oh,
We went to like a field trip in Waco, from I think it was fifth grade, and it was so cool. Like just the bats, the caves. It was like another world. Having grown up in Dallas, like that's not a thing up there.
yeah, I feel like I remember, I think we went with dad to Austin one time, maybe in the
Yeah,
truck.
yeah, we've got
And
pictures in front of the Capitol building.
yeah, and like that's all I remember was that we were going like it was around dusk and it was just like a mass exodus of bats from under it,
Hmm.
just like the sky was just like it was like a black cloud just moving and that was just the bats.
Yeah.
But really sad. I mean, this is probably TMI, but I feel like it's necessary for the story. A couple of weeks ago, I had to get an MRI on my elbow and I like was putting on my gown and was just super awkward and uncomfortable and I like am awkwardly going to go into the room and this really nice radiologist, she was, like, okay, this is like she's explaining everything to me and I noticed she had a Texas necklace and I just was like,
Ooh,
"Are you from Texas?"
you, me, you.
Yeah, and so she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm from Dallas." I always say Dallas because
People don't
if
really
you
know where Irving is, so
yeah,
that's like,
it's
yeah.
a suburb of Dallas. So whenever I'm like telling people I'm from Texas, I just say I'm from Dallas instead of having to explain where Irving is.
Hmm.
Um, but So she's like, "Oh, I'm from Austin." And I asked her about the bats, and she said, "There's too many people in Austin now, and the bats really aren't there anymore."
Oh,
She said it's nothing like it used to be.
yeah. That's
But
really hard.
yeah.
I know Austin is so popular, like Keep Austin Weird, and it's just like its own little vibe. Very different kind of area in a good way, but that's always really sad to hear, like the urbanization and just like pushing out of native species everywhere.
Yeah, and the bats are such a huge part of Austin, so it just like
Hmm.
it, you know, even with how populated Austin was when we were kids, the bats were still able to find a home that was like, you know, like the underside of a bridge, which was similar enough to a cave for them. But now that
Yeah.
there's so many people, they've been driven out, makes me sad.
Mm. Hopefully they've got a safe haven in like Waco and closer areas like that.
Yeah, maybe they're all over at Dead Man's Hole.
Gosh.
So in 1998, a Texas historical marker was placed at the site, and the landowner, Anna Lou Roper, deeded Dead Man's Hole and its surrounding 6.5 acres as a park to Burnett County in 1999.
That's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, so it's protected land.
Is it
Um,
considered then like a national park?
I don't think it is because it's just to the state
It's
or just
oh,
to the
okay.
county.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have in 1968, to avoid the hole continuing to be a dumping ground for bodies,
Hmm.
they placed a large metal cap over the top of it. In doing so, people will now refer to the hole as a tomb.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got all of those remains down there that haven't been able to be retrieved, plus who knows how many more have been thrown down there since. Like,
Hmm.
when you hear the word tomb, you're like, well, yeah, that's what it is.
That's sad though that there wasn't any exhumation or like proper burial for the bodies that were known to be dumped there, but also who's to say what other crimes or misdeeds have happened and more current mysteries or cold cases
Right.
could benefit from that information of like, oh, hey, this is definitely not from, what's it, 1800s? This is, more recent,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. That's, I'm glad though that like they can't add to it, but it would be nice to know that there was like an official closure
Yeah,
burial for those remains.
I agree. That is a sad reality of knowing that it's capped off. But one thing that made me feel a little bit better about it being capped off is I was like, well, no animals can fall into it.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and
Is
we've
it just a
seen,
hole? There's no like surrounding wall or anything?
yeah,
Yeesh.
yeah. So, you know, a deer running through the woods being chased by something and just boop, and then it's stuck down there.
Yep.
We've
Hmm.
seen in caves and stuff like that, you know, you can see animal carcasses because they just get stuck down there and they can't get out. So
Yeah.
I that was the first thing that popped into my mind. I was like, oh, no little deer will get stuck down there and have to die.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like even frogs in swimming pools, like something as inconspicuous, or not inconspicuous, but as just like normal as
Yeah.
that is dangerous to wildlife. So
Hmm.
that is a bright spot in it.
Yeah. So this spot is still reported to be the location of many eerie and bone-chilling experiences from both Austin natives and those who travel from afar to see the hole for themselves. There are reports of screaming heard from outside of the hole.
Oh my gosh.
There are strange noises that emanate from the hole as well as the area surrounding the hole. Apparitions of what people assume to be the victims of the fire eaters. They're reported to be seen kind of wandering around outside of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, this one, I'm like, ooh. some people have reported feeling a tugging sensation at their clothing. And that to me, that to
Oh.
me just feels like they're like, come down here with us.
Oh, that's really dark. My mind was going to like somebody on the brink of death, clinging to the edge and like trying to be
Oh,
saved. But even then, you've got that like
it's
that
you or
risk to
me.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
and none of that is good. But I would hope it wasn't malicious and it was more desperation. But that's
Yeah.
that I would be shitting myself.
Yeah, for real. Several EVPs have been recorded at the site, and I was super bummed. I tried to find them.
Hmm.
There's reports that these EVPs exist,
Yeah,
but
they're not
they're
like
not.
public.
Yeah.
We'll have to go ourselves.
Yeah.
Totally just kidding. Fuck that.
Yeah. This isn't like room 501. I'm like, oh, that sounds lovely. No.
This is a hole in the ground, a pit to hell.
Yeah. Yep. So in these EVPs, you can hear strange noises, you can hear disembodied voices. I feel like that's like pretty normal EVP stuff. But there is a more well-known EVP, and this is like gut wrenching. It's a little girl crying,
Oh,
saying, "No, Daddy, I just want to go to Dairy Queen."
oh my
So it just makes
goodness.
me think like, did something happen to her, and was she disposed of there?
Yeah. Ugh,
Breaks my heart for that soul.
yeah. And as completely shitty as it sounds and like feels to say it, even that kind of thing is not unheard of just abuse and mistreatment and
And then also you were mentioning earlier about like it was too bad, like the bones couldn't be exhumed and given proper
Mhm.
burials, but it's actually speculated that those family members going in and removing those thousands of bones is really what set off all of this paranormal activity.
Yeah.
Because you've got to think like I'm sure they weren't down there mapping out perfect skeletons.
Yeah. So like partial remains and stuff being or just kind of being
Yeah.
disconnected from your whole what's left of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And so the disturbance of those remains, that's going to upset those spirits and the energy there. And when some more of the bones were or when those family members exhumed those bones,
Hmm.
they moved them to the county courthouse, and all of a sudden stuff started going crazy there. And then the bones just disappeared. They just
What?
weren't there anymore.
That's not okay.
Yeah. So
Ugh.
whether that was like cover up, whether that was paranormal,
Yeah.
somewhere these bones are not laid to rest.
Right.
And so you've got to think that that's
Ooh.
got to be the cause of a lot of the activity that is reported at Dead Man's Hole.
Oh, definitely. Ugh. I wonder if any of that will ever, even partially resolve, but to at least find those bones, would be a start.
Right? That's the legend of Dead Man's Hole in Austin, Texas.
Yikes. I can't believe I've never heard of that. Like,
Me too.
neither of us had ever come across that tale before. And that's so close to home, really.
Right.
And just so it's not a one-off tragedy. Not that those are not noteworthy, but like it is a significant amount of deaths and horrific events leading up to those not burials but disposals.
Hmm.
That's wild to me that that's not more widely known or discussed.
Yeah, I think to me the thing that stands out the most is like you've you've got to think of the energy that's surrounding that place, right? Like
Yeah.
you've got the anger from the disagreements. You've got just all of the negativity surrounding the Civil War itself, right? Like
Yep.
the whole reason for the Civil War was that people wanted to stay racist or they didn't. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Openly
um
racist. Ugh.
and so it's, you've got that energy. Some of these, so like the judge who was killed, they gunned him down. He was fleeing to Mexico because he knew that they were after him, and they
Mm.
like hunted him down.
Oh my gosh. Like, can't even just chase him out of town and be
Yeah.
fine with that.
One
And
one of the
that's
people,
different from, who was it, Doc, that went to Oklahoma and just
yeah,
never returned?
yep, Doc was trying to find a criminal and just
Mm.
vanished. One of the people who was killed, he was only killed because he witnessed them hang James McMasters, I believe. Or no, he witnessed them hang Henry Flower, I think it
Oh,
was.
yeah. Oh my gosh. It just,
And so just all of there's so much energy
mhm.
just built up at that
Hatred
location.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
despair, I'm sure, like the families, like you said, was it the county as a whole was leaning more progressive union?
Yes.
And so I would imagine that it's not just like these one-off people, but like families that feel the same way are losing their family members, scared for their surviving family members. Do I continue speaking out and continue standing my ground? Do I kind of cower and, keep this to myself now for the
Mhm.
sake of my family that's left, for the sake of my future family?
Yeah.
Just a lot of complicated, really horrible emotions and energy around that.
And a lot of people in this community were actually, they had come to the United States after just leaving Germany. So, they were pro union. They had just kind of been in a really bad situation in Germany,
Hmm.
came to the United States, and for whatever reason, a lot of them landed in this community in Austin. And though they were pro union, they're like, I'm just going to keep my head down and I'm just going to try to follow suit while also still staying true to what I believe in. And that's ultimately what got them killed.
Yeah.
So several of the people who were killed were those German immigrants.
Yeah, that's horrible. Like to have escaped, to feel like you've escaped and just kind of be, you know, caught up in somebody else's battle, really, so to
Mhm.
speak. And like, yeah, this is your new home now, but you just got called in like the fourth quarter kind of
Right.
thing. I'm just here, I'm just trying to get through this, and to have it come down to that is awful.
Yeah. So, not another happy case,
Yeah.
but really interesting, I think, nonetheless. Just interesting to learn the history,
Hmm.
to learn about these like really big webs of conflict. It feels like
Yeah.
in this part of the country at this time, and also really interesting to think of any part of Texas ever being.
Pro union. The,
Yeah.
the whole state segregated.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think there was a pocket of anyone anywhere that would have fought on the side of the union. And
Right.
so, like, it's a little bit a ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
And
and
just,
and it's obvious that the community was very for being a part of the union. Like their elected official, who was a
hmm,
judge, was pro union, but unfortunately there was enough shitty people who didn't like that and could do something about it and did something about it.
yeah.
Yeah, so
It feels
I'm
very, unfortunately, it
I was
feels
gonna say
uncomfortably
familiar.
familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just take a collective deep breath.
Well, Des, thank you again for sharing another piece of interesting, if not complicated, piece of Texas's history with us. Unfortunately, I did not come across any solid stories of direct encounters that visitors may have had in this location. There were plenty of people vouching for the general spooky vibes and letting kind of social media know that they heard something or felt they saw something, but no real story behind it. So I want to put out the feelers for anyone who may be in the area or is up for a spooky adventure. If you happen to be around Dead Man's Hole in Austin, Texas, please let us know. Share your story if you feel so inclined. We would love to learn more and see what else this spot may have to offer. In the meantime, we will catch you guys on the next one.
Reach out to us at asthecrowflies.pod@gmail.com with any stories you want to share.
How's my forehead look?
Gorgeous, darling.
It's like 80 degrees in this hallway.
I will eat your heart. Pulled off at a stoplight. Did drugs on the dashboard.
Look at the mess we... All right.
Taco, taco.